Welcome back to Stop Running Your Business Like a Man podcast. I'm Christina Pop, and today I want to talk about something that has been moving deeply through my heart lately, and this is the return of grandmother energy. Because I truly believe that there has never been a greater need in our lives for practices and spaces and ways of living that bring holding and healing and support, wisdom, ancestral feminine wisdom, and replenishment. When I look around right now, I see women carrying this enormous pressure, women who are building businesses, leading teams, holding visions, supporting their clients, raising their children, navigating the heavy collective energy in the world right now, and at the same time trying not to lose themselves in all of this. The pace of the world is intense. In 2026, we are in a fire horse year in Chinese astrology. There is also, if we look at the Western astrology, there is also a lot of fire energy this year. And from the human design perspective, in human design, 2027 has been announced already a long time ago as a paradigm change. So, of course, the year before 2026 is very intense. It's the year just before 2027. Everything feels faster right now, louder, more demanding. There is constant stimulation, constant information. Also, events that have shaken us at the core of our beings. And on top of that, there is this constant pressure to optimize, to perform, to produce, to move quickly, to not fall behind AI. And many women's nervous system are feeling it deeply. And you may be feeling it too. That subtle or not so subtle exhaustion, that emotional overstimulation, the feeling of always being on. And in moments like this, many women think that all they need is an escape, a vacation, a break, a few days away from responsibilities. But honestly, I don't think escape is what most women are truly craving right now. I think that we are craving anchoring, grounding, nourishment, something deep. And that's why I think we need grandmother energy. So what is grandmother energy? It's not a person, not an age. Grandmother energy is an archetype, it's a frequency. It's feminine intelligence that has existed long before our productivity culture. It is the wisdom carried through generations of women who understood rhythm, women who lived closer to the earth, closer to cycles, to intuition, to community, women who understood how to hold both intuition and logic, softness and strength, women who knew that life is not meant to be lived in constant urgency. And I don't think that women in our previous generations had it easier than us. I mean, not at all. When we look at how women's rights have evolved, we are living in a historical moment where we can change things. And I think that women today are deeply longing for this energy of the grandmother energy, not to go back in time and not to live how our grandmother lived, but to bring it back into the present, to bring this ancient feminine wisdom and wave it into our modern lives. And I think we are craving this energy even if we don't have the language for it. But I hear it in many conversations with the women around me. Women are saying, I want something deeper. I'm looking for depth. I feel a call back to my ancestors. That's something I have heard a lot. I miss slowness. I feel disconnected from myself. I want to feel grounded again. Everything goes so fast. Even if there are good things coming my way, energy is very intense right now. I don't want to keep living at this pace. This is the language I hear. And honestly, I also feel this very fast pace, and also I also feel shaken to the core by all the things that are happening in the world right now. And I think what is emerging right now is a collective and personal desire for rootedness, for truth, for embodiment, for wisdom, for depth, and for sovereignty. And this is why spaces rooted in ancient wisdom feel so powerful right now. Spaces like sacred gardens, the women's circles I host in Switzerland, and the Renata Retreat Grandmother Experience I'm hosting in Romania. Because these spaces remind the body of something it already knows. That healing happens through presence, through nature, through ritual, through community, through being with other women in a safe way, through being witnessed by other women in a safe way. And I think that as women, we are experiencing a remembrance at the moment. We don't want to learn something entirely new. We need to remember something ancient that already existed within us and that we can wave into our modern experience, our modern life. And this is why I have created Renata Retreat Grandmother Experience. Renata is the name of my grandmother, and her name, Renata, means rebirth in Latin. So Renata Retreat is a renaissance and a sacred return to ancestral feminine wisdom. And I didn't create it, Renata Retreat, as simply as a retreat, but as a sacred pause, because the experience starts 14 days before the actual retreat with an energetic preparation. We have these 14 days of energetic preparation, then we have 5 days together, and then 14 days after the retreat is over, we have 14 days of integration. So it's a complete and holistic experience, and it's a space where women can reconnect with themselves underneath the noise, underneath the intensity right now. It's a place to tend to our nervous system, to reconnect with the body, to remember our intuition and return to rhythm. It's a place where women no longer need to perform, because something beautiful happens when women are held in space, in a space that is safe and nourishing. Women begin to remember who they are beneath productivity, beneath pressure, beneath performance. And this work is not only emotional or spiritual, it changes the way we lead. For me, it's so important whenever I create these spaces that they offer practical, pragmatic tools that we can use in our daily lives. So these spaces, the way I design them, they change how we lead, how we make decisions, how we use our energy, how we build our businesses, how we relate to people. Because when a woman reconnects with her energy, and especially in the Renata retreat with the grandmother energy, she stops reacting to the pace of the world around her. She becomes grounded, she becomes sovereign. And sustainable success needs rootedness, not just momentum. So Renata Retreat is built on 3 pillars. The earth element, like I said, 2026 is the fire horse year with a lot of action and speed. Things speed up and we feel rush, and the collective is purging a lot of darkness right now. And the earth is what keeps us grounded, protected, and safe. And I had this intuitive download in December 2025 to create the Renata retreat. I didn't know exactly how the year would unfold, but I knew intuitively that in September 2026 we will crave this energy and the energy of the earth. That's why the retreat is built on these 3 pillars, and the first one is the connection with the earth element. The second pillar is the grandmother, because the grandmother is the carrier of the earth element frequency. She's there to nurture us, to soothe us, and to protect us. And like I said, the grandmother is not a person, it's not an age, it's an archetype. It's this energy we are going to connect with. And then the third pillar is the renaissance of the ancestral feminine wisdom. The grandmother archetype is also represents the keeper of the lineage of the wisdom, the one that carries the memory, the medicine, the strength of all the women who came before us. So when we reconnect with the essence of the grandmother energy, something profound awakens within us and we experience a rebirth, becoming wiser, more rooted, nourished, and steady from the inside out. So in this very intense and powerful fire horse year, this deep feminine wisdom is essential for how we lead, how we create, how we build our businesses and projects, our families, and how we show up in our relationship. So this is a retreat that is truly for women who are ready to lead from wisdom and not pressure. And it is hosted in Transylvania, in Romania. And this is a preserved land where magic is lived, not performed. I was born in Romania and I have traveled the world and lived in 7 countries and learned so many things to, in the end, come back full circle and understand that Romania has so many hidden mysteries and energy and truth, such a long history as an high energetic place. So that's why I have chosen Romania, because I have been sitting with the idea to create a retreat for 4 years. The first time my clients asked me to create a retreat was in 2022, and first thing I was like, I don't know where to create this retreat. I don't want to go to places where we interfere into the life of communities or villages, and that has a negative impact on the local communities. And I don't want to go on lands where I'm not the keeper of the wisdom of that land. So when this intuitive guidance came to create a retreat in Romania, I said yes to this because I cannot imagine any path of transformation that ignores, that leaves out this essential dimension, which is that sacred needs to be lived as a direct experience. And that's what Romania offers, is the sacred as a direct experience, because the sacred is so intertwined in people's everyday life that people don't need to perform that for tourists. They don't need to perform for retreat participants. You just need to immerse yourself into the space and feel the sacred. First of all, that's possible because Romania's land holds this history of some of the most ancient Neolithic civilizations that have worshipped the great goddess. And that is Cucuten Triplia culture. It is one of the most ancient and remarkable prehistoric cultures in Europe that had a highly developed symbolic art and ritual life. And there is another culture called Gumelnica, and that was also a very sophisticated Copper Age civilization in the Balkans. And I believe that because we have in Romania the vestiges of these very ancient cultures that have worshipped pre-patriarchal spirituality, that's one of the reasons many people feel that Romania is such a mystical land and a sacred energetic space. And also, Romania is the land of Dacians. Dacians are an ancient civilization and that have created powerful sacred spaces such as Sarmisegetuza Regia. And this is a site that is very similar to Stonehenge in many ways, although it remains far less famous. And that's what makes it so valuable and precious, because Romania remains a deeply preserved and somehow also hidden place where many extraordinary sites are still protected by the landscape. And that's one of these sites is Sarmisegetuza Regia. The Dacians had a deep ancestral connection to the land, to nature and spirituality. Also, very interestingly, Romania is one of the few European lands where witches were not burned. Romania has preserved this strong living tradition of magic, ritual, mystical practices, and many still exist in the rural areas. I have seen in my grandmother practice, my aunt, and this is why Some anthropologists consider Romania as one of the European regions where ancient spiritual traditions have survived with this unusual continuity. The lineage has not been broken by this mass execution of women called so-called witches. These were actually medicine women who were outside the patriarchal control, who were living in the margin of society. So that's why I think it's important to, when we use the word witches, to know what we are talking about. So there were women who had knowledge or who were not submitted to the patriarchal governance. In Romania, this lineage has not been broken. That's why ancient spiritual traditions have survived with this unusual continuity. And these wise women have passed their knowledge and wisdom down through generations, from mother to daughter, to our grandmothers, and to the modern women of Romania. So I think anyone who has ventured into Romania's untamed lands and wild forests has seen that the country has this mystical, enchanting energy that is fascinating. So the Renata retreat is held in a land where sacred heritage and untamed nature are remarkably preserved, a place that carries this legacy of ancient civilization. And we are going to be hosted in 2 private houses in a historic Transylvanian village that will be reserved exclusively for our group. And these houses are also very old. They have around 400 years age, and they are renovated in the respect of the traditional architecture of these houses. So I wanted to do this retreat specifically in this space because the landscape, the energy there, the countryside will invite us to return to the essential. Less distraction, more presence. And this is an essential part of the grandmother experience. For this retreat and the spaces I create, there is a limited number of spots available because I want to keep this experience intimate and deep and supportive. And the retreat is now complete, but I wanted to tell you about it so that you see how you resonate with this ancestral feminine lineage and the grandmother energy and the grandmother archetype. And if you feel called and you're like, why didn't I know about it earlier? We have opened a waitlist. So you can click on the link I will put in the show notes, and you can join the waitlist. So if you feel called to reconnect with the renaissance of the ancient feminine wisdom, if you feel called by this remembering, I would absolutely love to welcome you to join the waitlist. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I want you, until the next time, to remember we are at an inflection point in history and we are moving into a new era. I believe it's a renaissance of the ancient feminine wisdom that we all carry within ourselves, combined with our modern advances. 2026 is the year of the speed, is the year of the action and fire. And in that intensity, it's easy to lose ourselves if we don't stay grounded. So remember this year to anchor and nurture yourself. This year, it is vital to reconnect with the earth, with the archetype of grandmother. I'll see you in the next episode of Stop Running Your Business Like a Man podcast. And if this episode has resonated with you, share it with someone who would love to connect with this energy. And just like that, it's another episode wrap. Thank you so much for listening today. To continue this conversation, join me on Instagram at christina.thrive. And if you want me to help you stop running your business like a man and tap into your feminine power to grow your revenue while creating more quality time for yourself and the people you love, go to christina-bob.com and book a call with me. See you there and have a wonderful day.